sir. Welcome back. I don't know if you guys can tell. You probably can. My hay fever is just destroying me at the moment. And it's only been just now that my hay fever has been destroying me. Oof. Because for the most part I've been alright, but I guess I ain't been taking my tablets though, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, it is what it is. Alright. So I find myself at an unusual time, 11 a.m, making myself breakfast, as you do. Yeah, because normally I'm up a little earlier, but hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was supposed to get an episode recorded yesterday, which didn't happen, unfortunately. I just rather spent time with like my friends, like the actual people that I was supposed to record an episode with. I just ended up spending time with them, chilling instead, having like conversations and stuff, which was really nice, really nice. Had some really good conversations with a few friends, and like allowed me to really reflect on like a few of my experiences and stuff, and but knowing it, just be back in my head a little bit again and think about stuff. But I think I'm starting to find that that's a bit of an issue now, isn't it? The whole being in your head and thinking too tough about everything. Because I think like it's okay to be in your head and just be aware of what's going on, you know what I mean? And like, sorry, I know it doesn't sound nice on the mic, but it's hay fever. But yeah, like I think it's important that obviously you're in your head and you're aware of things, and like, you know, you kind of have a good framework around how to deal with things that you don't know how to deal with, if that makes sense. But like one thing that I've been struggling with recently is just trying to make sense of everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I realized that was something that I was doing as of recently because of an experience, and because I can't make sense of it, like I just feel like I'm scrambling for scraps, and in that scrambling for scraps, like you get quite, it's like a feeling of desperation. Do you know what I'm saying? And I didn't realize that was what I was doing until I realized that was what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, it just had me feeling quite weird and quite strange, but it allowed me to reflect on quite a few things that I've been thinking about. Recently, I've been thinking heavily along the subject, like real heavy along the subject of like the truth, you know what I'm saying? What is the truth? When Jesus is like, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. Like, what is all of that? Oof. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. I don't know, man. Oh, I told you. Oof. Oh. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like having a conversation yesterday with my boy around this kind of subject too, and even just watching a show on Netflix today, The Midnight Gospel. Highly recommend it, man. It's like a cartoon that prize on like podcasting. So Duncan Trussell, who's a comedian, made this cartoon, and it's a guy who lives out in space, and he has this like world simulator where he simulates different worlds, and he just goes in there and he finds like interesting people to speak to, and he speaks to them and records an episode of the podcast. But the people who he invites to speak on the show are actual like real life like people of interest that have like a very insightful opinion on stuff, you know what I mean? And you could actually say that it's actually a podcast, just the visual is just a cartoon, basically, just something to accompany the podcast audio with it. But no, it's very interesting. And today I was listening to his last episode, the episode of his mum, where they just kind of talk about many things, like going with the grain rather than going against the grain, but in your own life and all that sort of stuff, innit? And like how sometimes people get so caught up and like so wound up about like what they're doing and not understanding certain things and blah blah blah, and just like feeling stuck and like feeling like they're not going anywhere. But I think a lot of that does genuinely have to do with just trying to compute and understand everything that goes on in your life. I don't think we're supposed to, you know what I mean? And I think these past few days have really made me realize that like it's okay to have a framework in order to like try to understand more things, but if you don't understand it, just don't force it. And don't understand it, like it will reveal itself later down the line anyway. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't understand it, don't try to formulate things to try to understand it either, because that was something that I almost done, and like if I had done that, it probably would not have ended well. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for everything, and I think you will know there's a time and a place for everything if you're very aware of like what's going on around you and like of yourself, and very aware of just things. Do you know what I mean? And I guess in a sense, like that's what going with the grain should be like, you know what I mean? Just accepting like what's going on, and if there's something that you don't know, we'll just accept that you don't know it and just leave it at that. Keep it stepping. Try not to overcomplicate things. Like I feel like you know when the time is the time. You just know, innit? Yeah, and I say that from a fairly recent experience. Those listening who I've spoken to might know exactly what I'm referring to. But yeah, man. So I guess it kind of going back round full circle then into the point that I was trying to make. It it's in my eyes. Flipping hell. I think a lot of that plays into like the truth, the word, you know what I'm saying? This is something that I was speaking about yesterday with my boy Sebo. It's fascinating, so fascinating how I've began to find adventure in truth. I began to find like meaning and purpose, you could say, but also just like a real adventure in discovering so many things of just trying to seek the truth. And sometimes the truth isn't as like vague as, I don't know, finding out that if I put my finger in this pan of oil it's gonna burn me. No, like obviously that's the truth, it's fine, we get that, but truth is more so like a very personal experience too. Like I liken truth to have a duality. So there's the subjective truth and the objective truth. Obviously objective truths are just, this is hot, if I put my finger on it it's gonna burn me, right? That's like an objective truth. That's a kettle, it's always gonna be a kettle, it's not gonna be anything else. It's an objective truth. Obviously there's a grey area when it comes to objective truths, but that's something else, man, another topic for discussion. But then there's the subjective truth, which are like truths that hold true only for you. You know what I mean? So like, for example, the objective truth is that this pan is hot, if I put my finger on it, it'll burn me. But the subjective truth is that it probably doesn't hurt me. It might hurt somebody else, and that's their subjective truth. That's like a very vague explanation of what it is. But when you go deeper into it, subjective truths are only found when you look within yourself, you know what I'm saying? And you do the things that like are true to you. The emotions that might be true to you, you just acknowledge them, you accept them. Thoughts that might be true to you, you acknowledge it, you accept it. And if it's something you can act upon it. Do you know what I mean? That might be something as simple as like, I want to start learning how to cook. So you start learning how to cook. You know what I'm saying? That was like a truth that was true to you. And when you accept those things and you start following those things, that for me is loving God above all. And because it's tough, man, it's tough. Like there's so many times that that inner voice inside of you tells you to do something, or to like, it's showing you like how to perceive a particular thing that's going on. But because it's so different than to what everybody else is doing, everybody else might be telling you, nah, man, it's not that. Like, don't do that, or like, don't see it in that way, or like, don't think about it like that way, or whatever it might be. Do you know what I'm saying? So it makes you go against yourself. And now you're not loving God above all. I'm not saying you are God. I think we form part of God. But like, God is so much more than just this man up in the sky with a white beard that like grants wishes. I've always said this, and like I firmly believe it now. Like, I genuinely firmly believe it now. God manifests himself in so many different ways. You know what I mean? And one of the ways he manifests himself is that truth, that like, the undeniable truth that if you put in the framework to like be able to become aware of it, then you'll be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? And once you see it, the hard part is listening to that voice no matter what. I think Morgan Freeman actually one time said something similar along those lines, that everybody has that inner voice, but not everyone listens to it. You know what I mean? But I think the hard part first is even being able to acknowledge that inner voice, like knowing that you have one in you that guides you, that isn't you. It's not you. Because more time, 9 out of 10 times, that voice has a voice of its own and like tells you to think about things without you even wanting to think about things, or like makes you feel a type of way, and it's like, that wasn't me though. Do you know what I mean? So like, for example, and I think I've given this example before, but like, for example, if you've done something wrong and your conscience keeps bringing it up, but you don't want to think about it, it's not you who keeps bringing it up, but your conscience keeps bringing it up, and no matter how many times you try to fight that thought away, it still keeps coming up. Like, that in a way is God telling you, like, these are the things that you need to think about and deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is your truth. Accept it and repent, or like accept it and like do something about it. So that I no longer have to come back and keep telling you to think about it, think about it, think about it. And I think there's a lot of people in this world that like have rejected that voice so much that it now kind of like haunts them, it taunts them, and that's why they're so uncomfortable in their own skin. Which is a crazy thing to think about. But like, I think that forms part of it. Obviously that forms part of it. Like, everything is an entourage effect. So like, that might be a catalyst for then other things to start like happening and accumulating. And now you have a whole bunch of things going around in a circle that makes you feel uncomfortable in your own skin. So not is it only just that voice in the top of your head, but now it might be like a hormone imbalance. It might be, I don't know, man, thoughts and ideas that possess your like character and being, you know what I mean? Because I had this conversation, I say that all the time, but we were speaking about this yesterday, that like, maybe in the Bible, the people that God possessed, sorry, the demons that God expelled from the possessed, wasn't necessarily people that were shaking in bed, like going crazy, and I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Maybe the demon possessed people were the people that, because they were so uncomfortable in their own skin and like didn't like their truth and were so, I don't know, I guess you could say stubborn in ways to change it. Like, those are the kind of people that you find out on the street or like wherever they may be, and they're always hating on other people. Like, Sebo gave me the example yesterday of this guy who was just roller skating, and some drunk guy with a beer went up to him and was like, "Oh, you bum, like, go get a job, look at you roller skating, this and that and the next." And the guy went up to him and just been trying to give him love, innit? And then he was like, "Oh, like, have you got a job for me that I can work with you or something?" And he's like, "No, I don't work myself." He's like, "I inherited 2 properties and that's how I'm able to like bum around and pay for my beer all day and this and that and the next." And the guy was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice, like, thank you though, God bless you, have a nice day." And the guy was just shouting at him like, "Oh, like, F you and this and that and the next and blah blah blah." Like, it's those kind of people that I think are the demon possessed ones, the ones that are uncomfortable with their own truth and don't do anything about it, to the point where they just end up hating themselves. So they're possessed by like the spirits of anger, envy, jealousy, of, I don't know, like, of spite, you know what I mean? And I think us as humans, it's normal for us to think about, to feel those emotions. There might be times where we might feel angry, there might be times where we might feel you know, a little bit of envy or a little bit of spite towards other people and all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, we don't let these emotions like possess our entire being. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just momentary emotions that come and go and they pass. But when you get to a stage of like that's literally the embodiment of you, that's when you're like really possessed by these things. And I think those are the demon possessed people that were spoken about in the Bible. And I think God, not God, Jesus being love, like he says that I am love, like, I am. So you lot are probably thinking, why is this guy stirring these onions for so long? I'm just trying to caramelize them, innit? But anyway, so Jesus being like love, and that's how he expels these demons from these people. Well, what is love? You know what I'm saying? Love isn't just like going up to that person and giving them a hug and then being like, I love you, it's fine. Nah, man. Love is going up to a person like that and telling them in the best way possible, because I don't think anybody knows how to handle situations like that the best way possible, but you do it in the best way possible. And it's basically just explaining to them that, like, look, the way you're living life isn't great. You're clearly possessed by like these emotions of anger, envy, jealousy, whatever it might be, spite, blah blah blah. Like you need to do something about it, and let me help you do something about it. That's what love is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that real like you actually care for this person, fam. It's caring for a person, man. And caring for a person isn't allowing someone to continue doing bad things just because you don't want to hurt their feelings or emotions if you told them that what they're doing is bad. No, man. Caring for a person is pointing out their bullshit whenever they're actually just on bullshit, you know what I mean? So, I don't know why I ended up going down that route. But the point that I was trying to make was that, like, if you don't accept your truths, that's the kind of path you go down. But once you accept your truths, once you're able to just sit comfortably in them, and like you don't have to compute them, because that's something that I try to do, and I see that like that made me like fall into despair, like because I didn't know, like, I didn't understand, and I couldn't understand, and I couldn't find a way to understand, and I was just scrambling and searching for answers, and it made me feel despair, fam, you know what I mean? But I think the only thing you really have to do is just accept your truth, like just accept it, like this is it, like this is what it's supposed to be. Like if it's a bad time, just, I'm supposed to be in this bad time, it's fine. Like if I don't understand it now, I'll understand it later. It's cool, man, don't worry. And allow yourself to be guided by that, you know what I'm saying? Allow yourself to be guided by that. And when you do, like, you really start to go on an adventure in life, and like you really start to like discover things and see things that like maybe you wasn't able to see before. Because I know for sure that's definitely happened to me, man. Definitely happened to me. You know what I mean? Like this was something that I had been leading up to and like building towards. And it's so crazy because once I started seeing, once that like I had that one real changing experience where I saw something that I hadn't seen before, and to me it was such an eye-opening thing. Like I fell into despair, bro. I fell into despair because I didn't know how to like, I didn't know like how to understand it, how to comprehend it, and that was making me feel like, I don't know, very strange and weird, like very strange and weird. But I've realized though that like, I just have to accept it for what it is, and I don't have to understand it now. If I don't, then I don't. It's fine. I'll understand it when I'm meant to understand it, and that's okay. But yeah, man, be guided by that, like by that truthful and honest principality. You know what I mean? Like your truth has to sit above everybody else's, and that's what like loving God again is. Loving God over everything is supposed to be. Your truth sits above everybody else's, and what I mean by that is like, sometimes you might have a friend that like does bad things, and you know that your truth, because you see him doing it and you feel bad for him, is to tell him like what he's doing is wrong. But you might like neglect that truth and not do it because you're too scared to hurt your friend, or like maybe you're scared about how he might react to it or whatever it might be. And now you're not loving God above all, because that inner voice that like guides you and tells you that this is the right thing to do, or like maybe this is what you should try to do in this situation or whatever it is, like you're not listening to it, you're putting it to bed. Do you know what I'm saying? And that makes you look at yourself like you're an untrustworthy person, because you can't trust yourself to do the things that are right by you. You're trying to do what's right by others, and that's not a bad thing, but there's a time and a place for that. There is a time and a place for that, I think. But yeah, man, don't go against the grain, bro. Go with the grain, flow with the river, you know what I'm saying? Flow with the water. That whatever's happening to you, just accept it, sit in it, don't fight it. Fighting it might even come in the form of, again, like trying to compute it and understand it, or just like, I don't know, trying to make sense of it, or trying to do something about it. Like sometimes you don't need to do anything about it. Sometimes you actually just don't. I think you will know when you have to do something about something, but for the most part, nah, man. I don't think that's the case, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, why am I speaking about these things? Well, that probably sounds very nice in the mic. But yeah, why am I speaking about these things? Well, again, like, I can only ever speak about my own experiences. And that's something that I realized. Like, when I first started off the podcast, it was nice because I was able to sit down and learn about the things that I was learning. Sorry, speak about the things that I was learning and all that sort of stuff, which was great. And maybe give like my opinion and my view on the Bible and like all that sort of stuff, because that was what was like currently interesting me at that particular time, and like that was what I was going through in that particular moment in time, innit? But nowadays, I kind of just realized that like, the only thing that I really can speak about is my own personal experiences, and maybe hope that like it can be a catalyst to other people finding their own personal experiences, because no one can live their experience through mine. Like everybody here, although we are all one and the same, like we all still have our individual experiences, you know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that like, oh, like I'm greater than anybody else, or my experience is greater than anybody else. I think if you have that mindset, it's incredibly dangerous. But it's just to say that like, although me and my brothers are one and the same, I also share my own unique experience, and it's just a unique experience. It's not a better unique experience, it's not a worse unique experience, it's just a unique experience, and everybody else is experiencing a unique experience, you know what I'm saying? So it's important to be mindful of that too, man. Like there's a lot of people that look at others, and because of the current experience that they're going through, like that's how they define that person. And if in that particular moment in time that person might have been angry, upset, or like not happy, or like whatever it is, and he was projecting that out, like they define that person as that. And I try to step away from that, you know what I mean? Like we're all humans, and everything that we project are just byproducts of what we're currently experiencing in that moment. So I know that's not you. I know that's just like something you're expelling as you're going through life's journey. And if you're having a tough time comprehending or just computing a lot of things, or just like, I don't know, like sitting comfortably in your experience, then of course that's how it's gonna be. But I have to have mercy, bro. I have to like be compassionate of these things, man. I can't ever judge someone else or like shoot someone down because that's what they're feeling in that moment in time. That's wrong. That's so wrong. But yeah, I feel like it's very easy for a lot of people to get caught up in doing that though. They take other people's projections so personally, fam, and that's a dangerous path to walk down too. You know what I mean? You have to be able to separate yourself from like your emotions and your experiences. Understand that that is not you. That's just an experience that you're currently going through. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like that anger that you feel today, you might not feel it tomorrow. And if you don't feel it tomorrow, you're just gonna feel like a pleb because you was angry at so many people and rah, you know what I mean? But and hey, you know what as well, like just being that hyper aware with yourself allows you to really understand that with other people too, man. So you have a little bit more like compassion and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, dog? But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to keep this one short and sweet. You know, it's not that long. I was just making breakfast, chefing up some huevitos pericos. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. Probably have a little bowl of porridge too. Don't judge my breakfast. And then get back on the road, man. Just get back on working, my routine again. But this is another thing, man. Like in all my desperation to understand and like comprehend my experience and what was going on, like it threw me off completely. I haven't been able to get back into my routine again. I've been struggling so much to like, I don't know, like stay weirdly balanced and not all over the place. And like You know what I mean? And just do the things that I need to be doing, that I set out to do, and all that sort of jazz. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting past week and a half. Because this all, funny enough, happened on the week that I took off work, so that I could just chill, relax, like do the things that I wanted to do or needed to do or need to be doing, which is like editing and filming and this and that and the next. And ask me if I did any of that. None of that. Because having no routine threw me off completely. And then besides, on top of that, then this other experience that happened to me threw me off even threw me off even more. It's funny now that I look at it. It threw me off even more, and like in my desperation to try and make sense of it all and like do something about it, like I just spiraled out of it. Made it worse basically, innit? But hey, I'm here now. At least I can acknowledge that. And at least that is something that I feel like I should be doing something about. So I definitely will. Like, I'll just take it easy, try to like get back into my routine again bit by bit. And if there's something that I don't understand and can't comprehend, well then I just won't. I'll wait until the answer comes to me, and that's all I gotta do. Because it's fine. The truth is, the experience is given to me, but the other truth might be that I wasn't ready to understand it. So I gotta accept that. I just gotta be able to accept that and keep it moving, because then, yeah, all things will be revealed anyway. You know what I'm saying? All things will be revealed anyway. But yeah. Besides that though, what else has been going on? I don't know, man. Pretty excited to just keep filming, keep making like videos and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm making a film right now on two of my boys who are brothers, and they rock climb, and I'm just trying to really like, I'm trying to capture a narrative. I'm not trying to like force a narrative. I'm trying to capture a narrative. And that narrative is like the uniqueness, the real uniqueness of rock climbing, and how rock climbing sits in its own separate lane that's like art and sport merged into one. And like just a weird like outdoor freedomness. Well, it's not outdoor freedomness, but like a weird like freedomness that it gives, you know what I'm saying? And I've shot some footage. I need to obviously continue shooting some more. But yeah, I'm in the process of doing that, which is pretty cool. It's quite nice. I'm not sure when it will come out. I would like to think that it's the next episode that comes out actually, now that I think about things, but it could be like maybe the next few ones. We're not too sure. But yeah, man. And other than that, like just excited now to just keep it stepping in life, like really trying to abide by my truths and just accept them and just live by them. Like but if you haven't seen this film already, watch Fight Club. Fight Club is a film that embodies that so well, so flipping well, so well. Like obviously it has its own quirky way of doing it, which is fine, but like Fight Club really like embodies that so damn well. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, watch Fight Club. Maybe it will make things a little bit more clearer. Wow, my nose is really like dying to sneeze again. But yeah, man. I watched that the other day again because I've seen it a few times now, and I did think to myself, wow, that. Oh, okay, it's nice. I did think to myself like, wow, like this is a real masterpiece, you know. This really catches like it really captures a particular theme across life that not many people get. But if you do and you watch this film, like you really understand it, and it really like captures you, you know what I mean? And then after that moment, sorry, not after that moment, after I watched Fight Club, I watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith catches that like such a perfect dynamic between a couple, and not just any old couple, but a couple that like y'all were meant to be. You know what I'm saying? And that film there, yeah. When I watched that film and I saw that like dynamic and the energy between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and how they were just like bouncing off each other and like really trying to portray what it is to be in a couple like that, like when you lie to each other and how each other feels it, and things are like slightly off and slightly odd, and then when both of you come clean about stuff, like in its own timing though, both of you come clean about stuff, and then there's nothing more you can do than just accept these truths from each other, because you know that you lot are gonna be with each other anyway for the rest of your life, and like how that all just plays out, and then how like eventually they make up and all that sort of stuff. But I can't lie, it's a banging film. I'm not one for romance movies. I don't like romance movies, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith is more of like a romantic comedy action. You know what I'm saying? And like you forget about the romance element of it, but when you really pay attention, like that dynamic there is crazy. It's crazy, and what's even more crazy is that not many people get to experience that, and you really and truly only get to experience it if you're like hyper aware of like yourself and these truths, man. And I think maybe some people are able to have that experience for a short while, but because they don't have the relevant framework to keep true to themselves, they kind of lose their way, and then fortunately it slips through their fingers, and that's where heartbreak happens. That's like your first real love heartbreak, you know what I'm saying? And that is a tough pill to swallow, man. Oof. For a lot of people, they never recover. And then that's where you get Donnie's at Vicente Fernandez just singing about heartbreak and shit all the time. Yeah, man. It's quite sad, but at least it creates art, you know what I mean? At least it creates art. But anyways, listen. Some chia seeds. My breakfast is pretty much done and dusted, you know, so I only wanted to make this short and sweet and just do it whilst I was cooking breakfast, and I think I've pretty much been able to do that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, lad? So what I'm gonna do is put the kettle on to boil. Terrible effort. And call it a day, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of honey in the porridge too. Normally I put some frozen fruits, but I ain't done no food shopping. Need to go do that today at some point. Yeah, man. Stay blessed, innit? Stay blessed. Become aware of your truths and adhere to your truths over everything. Even if it costs you a friendship, even if it costs you an arm and a leg, fam. There's nothing more valuable in life than your own truth. And there's nothing more righteous in this life than abiding by your own truths. As long as you're not doing no harm to nobody and you're loving everybody around you, which in principle your truth will allow you to do, there's nothing more valuable in this life and nothing more meaningful. And then you start having a real adventure, a real adventure. I finally understood what Jordan Peterson meant by that. That's how I feel in this moment. By everything that's just happened to me, innit? So can't really describe it. You just have to experience it for yourself. But yeah.